Hey, you folks, I'm Alan. If you know me, welcome back. If you don't, settle in. Today is Monday, May 18, 6:36 in the PM, Davao, Philippines. It has been a little over a week since I last posted. Time got away from me a little bit, my apologies. We had a bit of a small disaster here in this little subdivision I live in near Mintal. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. Just, you'll hear a lot if you haven't been here to the Philippines yet, or if you're just getting here, two things you learn is patience and flexibility. And I am, by turns, better and worse at those one day at a time. Like, sometimes I've got it pretty dialed in, and sometimes I'm like, why is this one thing annoying me? Uh, and this was that. So the subdivision that I live in, they have a Facebook channel, and you'll discover if you haven't been here that no one really has websites here. Everyone uses Facebook. You'll get Facebook Marketplace, Facebook channels, Facebook pages for literally everything. It is everyone's web page. It doesn't matter if it's a person, a subdivision, a business, all of them use Facebook. All right. And consequently, when they want to send out a message, they do it on Facebook, which is not the way I'm used to getting my messaging. It's not what I would expect. That's not the venue or the medium through which I would expect to receive any kind of a formal notification. But yay, Philippines. In this case, it was water and power related. I guess there's an underground water pump they had to replace, and they're also doing some work on the street lights, like right near where I live. So we didn't get a week's notice or 2 weeks notice or a month's notice. We found out the day it happened, like the morning it happened. Power cut and water cut. Now, normally, because almost everything is well driven, obviously all the water pumps are electrical. If you lose power, you lose water. So Andy and I have like 5 of those big blue water tubs of drinking water that we keep, and then once a month we get them refilled. And it's like 30 pesos a piece, which is not bad. So I wasn't worried too much about drinking water. But that's your shower, that's your bath, those are your sinks, that's your toilets. And when all that water cuts out, things can get smelly pretty quick. Also, like, I work from home, I work remote. I'm very fortunate in the company that I work for now is flexible with my location, and I can just work anywhere I have power and internet. Now, unfortunately, I only had one of those, and I didn't want to run up my mobile Wi-Fi. So we went and got an Airbnb. Now, in the U.S., that would be a lot more expensive. Here in Davao, I found one in Davao City over at the Ivory Condos near Ayala Mall, actually. It was a great little place, great little place. But it was just under $30 a night. So we just went down there uh, for the week, just 6 days, three weekdays, 4 weekdays but then the weekend. So yeah, 6 days. And that worked out, man. They had power, they had internet, they had running water. It's right next to Ayala Mall or Ayala Brisa Mall. So all the amenities are there. What you don't want to walk to, you can just take a grab and they'll bring it right to the lobby. You just go down the elevator and get whatever you need, food, groceries, whatever. Or you could just take a trike over to the mall, and that's where the Robinsons is. And that's that flexibility. Now, not everybody, I understand not everybody can do that, right? Like Filipinos are making maybe 10K pesos a month is normal, which is like $160, $170 a month. They wouldn't be able to do that. So I'm not sure how the other folks in my subdivision, I mean, they obviously got by. I don't know the details. For us, because again, both Andy and I both work online, this was a necessity. We needed the power, we needed the water, we needed a stable place from which we could both work. So we just went and did that. And, it wasn't a vacation, but there is a certain novelty, I suppose, just living and working out of somewhere where, that's not your primary domicile. So it was kind of cool. We got to go somewhere we hadn't been before. I mean, I'm familiar with that part of Davao, but I'd never been over in the Ivory condos, and they are nice. And it had some real pretty views. We were up on the 6th floor, and it's a pretty view. That's one of the things you can say. One of the many things you can say about the Philippines is you get up on some elevation, and you can really, really see some cool views, man. Get that sunrise and that sunset out here, and it is just spectacular. But to get all that and to circle back to this, it requires some patience and some flexibility. Like, I got a bit lucky. The hostess got back to me. She happened to have an Airbnb that was available day of. So that kind of shocked me that I could get an Airbnb day of for like 6 days at a little less than $30 a day. That's fantastic, man. And they were super cool, super responsive. Check-in was super easy. But you have to be willing to get a little creative over here. You don't have the same support structure, or at least from the government anyways, and you don't necessarily have the same policies or rules that you can kind of lean back on in order to get something done, right? Like, I'm sure I could have complained to the subdivision. Technically, this is an HOA, like in the loosest sense, technically it's an HOA. I'm sure I could have gone up on the Facebook channel and yelled and screamed. It's just not how I wanted to spend my time, man. So we went out to the condo, spent our time there, and then Andy kept track of the subdivision's Facebook page, and a lot of people were shouting and complaining because 3 days without water is hard. I mean, not to get too morbid about it, but for those of you who aren't familiar, there's a loose rule of 3 when it comes to human survival. The average human can go 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, about 3 weeks without food. On average, it's a loose rule of thumb for just basic human survival. 3 days without water is rough. Most folks here have water tanks. And what that is that the water you get from the city, or the subdivision in my case, gets piped into these tanks, and then the tanks are kept full. And then when the water cuts out, that water pressure from the tank provides water to the rest of your house. So you'll see these water tanks, either plastic or metal, usually up on some kind of scaffolding, just to get more water pressure out of it. So different folks get impacted to different degrees, right? I guess power was real intermittent for that entire time here, and so was water. So the folks who are prepared, they've got at least 2 to 5. I would recommend 5 bottles of drinking water, like the big blue bottles. That'll last you. And then we don't have a water tank here. We rent this place. If I owned it, I would absolutely get an elevated water tank installed. 1, for the water pressure, and 2, because I just don't like having my water cut off, man. It immediately elicits a strong survival instinct out of me. Like, I find I have, it's probably some hypervigilance right there. but I have a real strong reaction when that water gets cut out. So these are the things that you have to look at and look into and consider. And then if you don't have those for whatever reason, if that rug just abruptly gets yanked out from underneath you, you have to be ready to scramble a little bit. And that can cause some folks some anxiety. Now, luckily, I spent, almost a little over 3 decades in California dealing with fire season up in the North Bay area. So having a bug out bag is normal for me. You know, I know where the things are that I have to have. I've got my critical documents all bundled up in one place. I can just throw it in a bag and go. Like, it's been my experience over the years. And it's tragic. It's poignant. I guess poignant's a better word. Most of the time, when you have to compress the things that you absolutely have to have that are the most important, they usually fit in the shoebox. I've got that shoebox figured out, you know. So when things got cut out here, it was real simple for me just to bag up the basic necessities. Obviously, we weren't in a rush. Like, in California, you had to be ready to go during fire season because fire isn't going to wait about your feelings, right? So I had to kind of pace myself a little bit and slow down a little because she's in a different mindset than I am. Like, there are a lot of things where she and I, like, we have similar perspectives, but there are other events or situations where she and I do not live in the same world, right? There are just certain events and situations that elicit a much more aggressive response from me than do from her. So I had to kind of remember to slow down, pace myself, because I think I was freaking her out a little bit. But no, man, we were all packed up within an hour, got a hold of Grab. Once I got the Airbnb locked down, we were back up and running that day, man. And that's pretty cool. Like, things can be a little more haphazard here. It does require a little bit more willingness to think on your feet. But man, at least for me, it's been really worth it. Like, I don't remember the last time I smiled so much. I think the folks who've known me the longest could probably tell you, no, that's true. I definitely haven't been this tanned in a while. And, like, I don't tan. I'm Irish. Normally I just burn. It's, the Philippines can be pretty rewarding. But, again, little patience and flexibility goes a long way here. Anywho, that's about it. I feel like I'm circling the drain on this. So I'm going to call this video here. If you have any similar experiences in the Philippines, drop a comment. Let me know. If you're curious about anything I had to say, drop a comment. Let me know. Hit the like and subscribe if you feel like it. Anywho, as always, take care, be good to yourselves, and stay safe out there, folks. It's a crazy goddamn world. Till next time.